IPMNation.com.
This is not a drill.
Live from the Outpost Studios in Columbus, Ohio, you're listening to All Natural Being with Brian Brawdy. Brought to you by IPMNation.com. Get ready for the gong heard round the world.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All Natural Being. Warning, All Natural Being with Brian Brawdy is designed to shake your sense of self to the core.
It's full contact psychology with an empowering twist, a philosophical loofah for your soul.
For those of you not ready or comfortable releasing your inner superhuman, listener discretion is advised.
Here's your host,
Brian Brawdy.
Good evening. Welcome. And thank you. Oh, I'm supposed to hit this one over here, I think. Thank you for stopping by what is now, if this launch is going to be successful, the 375th episode. As you know by now, the number one rated show here on IPMNation.com. Of course, I'm talking about You're Into All Natural Being, and as you just witnessed, the gong heard round the world. Broadcast as it happens, thanks to our friends at Telestream's Wirecast, or I guess you're welcome to blame them for those of you listening, and we know you're out there, those of you listening and watching that are not a fan. Either way, right here on IPMNation.com, and now multicast live on Facebook and over at allnaturalbeing.com. On Brian Brawdy, the app as well, Wayne tells me. So that's some pretty exciting news. But however you come to hang with us, we're always pumped to have you live from the Transitional Radio Uplink here in a suburb of Columbus, Ohio, with rebroadcast on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube. You know, the list of the usual suspects. Ooh, but pretty soon, I'm almost certain, not to be on Twitter. Twitter is a no-no. Greetings wherever you are here in the garden of the mortals, the labyrinth of life itself. Your shot, think about it, that's what life is, your shot at running the table, at leveling out where you see fit. You don't need permission from anybody. Here's your chance to be mouth-watering once again to yourself. It's in your blood. Now, we just got to get our minds to remember that about us. That's why we're here, to be your amnesia buster, as I like to say, your friendly blue force, always putting your heart's highest priority top of your list. Matter of fact, if it's in the bottom of your heart, it's on the top of our mind here at All Natural Being. Reinstalling and reinstating the true wit and wisdom, the wallop of your inner whisper, rebooting your robust, finding your ferocious, commencing your counterpunch, if you will, all in time to out-brutal the brutal that is the cut and shuffle that fate can deal you on a daily basis, and to bring your own bold once and for all. But before we hit it this evening, a little bit of pandering, right? Because I'd like everyone for the 81 to win to invite other friends in other countries to join us. But for pandering's sake, hello to my friends here in the United States and Canada, Mexico, the UK, my good friends in Ecuador, China, the Philippines, Brazil, India, Australia, Germany, Italy, and France, Nigeria, Turkey, Japan, Singapore, Thailand, Belgium, Sweden, Israel, South Africa, Egypt, Puerto Rico, Kenya, the Netherlands, Iran, Colombia, Greece, Ireland, Argentina, Peru, Austria, Poland. To those joining us from all over the globe, it is great to have you with us, and I truly am fired up today, as every day that I'm here, to be driving your bandwagon, to be your vaccine from Meshuggah, to be your virtual hitchhiker if you're on the go. And you know what I love about riding shotgun? It's a chance to be able to hang with you. So what are we waiting for? Here's our opportunity together for the next hour. It will be an hour this evening to more than like 55 minutes. I'll explain that. But what do you say? Let's go kick in some doors. A bunch of thank yous at first this evening. And then to let you know that, Wayne, you don't have to worry about getting me to switch over right at the, oh, you know what? I should have set the clock. Right. Okay, so when the countdown clock counts down to 24, that's just the beginning. That's the time until we come back and we start another 30-minute show. So I need to thank my good friend Henry Noel last evening for taking over the hour for us here on Transitional Radio. I'll be doing the same this evening. We're going to be going from 8 till about 8:55. And as I started to say, the real reason Wayne doesn't have to worry, I'll be bidding adieu. And yes, that's my attempt at culturally appropriating the people from France, right? So if you could please report me, that would, thank you. I don't need another Christmas gift. Don't wrap it, just report that I'm culturally appropriating French language. I'll be bidding adieu because tonight is the world premiere of the season opener of the Vikings. So I'll be wrapping up at like 8:54, 55, somewhere around in there to make sure I can catch the opening minute of that. But also I want to thank Henry last night because this time yesterday I was hurting. Matter of fact, I was in the middle of a 36-hour snooze. I'll tell you a little bit about that and what happened. So when you have little ones, and I've been putting up with this for a while, but when you have little ones, no, not putting up with the little ones, but kind of like you send them off to school and they're crawling, burping, sneezing little petri dishes of every microbe known to the human immune system. So it looks as if one of the little cherubs brought home strep throat. So yesterday I was hurting. Matter of fact, have you ever coughed? You ever wheezed so much that the next day your diaphragm, the muscles of your stomach wall, hurt so bad you can barely talk? Well, last night I was in the throes of whatever it is at my age when you get strep throat. But man, it was, let me tell you this. You ever have a flu or a strep throat or something like that where it's so severe, you get up the next morning and you know you just got to strip the sheets on your bed. You just can't run the risk of anyone falling asleep in those sheets or you yourself going back into that. That's how bad it was yesterday. I got up this morning. I was like, oh, no, I got to do the laundry. It's time to strip these sheets and throw them in the washing machine because it was that bad. But I noticed today, any kind of wheezing and my stomach, I go, just how out of shape are you? I know I've talked about the tumor 20. Ashley says the tumor 29, tomato, but I'll get into that here in a little bit. But I wanted to thank Henry for last evening putting up and guarding me once again while I was down, as he did so brilliantly last month. Thank you very much for that. And also to let you know that we'll be here for the full hour, like 50, 55 minutes, something like that. Lee Rowley from Sales Copy Academy will be joining us at the bottom of the hour, so that's pretty cool. A little bit of, I don't know why the mic keeps clicking like that. I'll have to have that checked, but Lee will be joining us at the bottom of the hour, so we're very happy to have him. Oh, let me see. Oh, you know what? Let me say hello to everyone here in the thread, and then we'll get over. Turn down this. I got to turn down the volume. See, there's no way to do it in and of itself. It just happens like that. Good evening to Jamie and to Patricia and to Joseph. Greetings and salutations to you as well, brother. Wayne, hello, everyone. Will be no eyes or clocks tonight. No need. I finally get the night off. Oh, well, you know what, Wayne? Thank you so much for taking the night off and still joining us. Yeah, I'll tell you, there's nothing that'll get me to hit a call time like the season premiere of the Vikings. I got to tell you that. If Parker's watching, he knows exactly what I'm talking about. Ken Ratliff. Oh, I should mention, since Ken's in the thread now, Ken will be joining us tomorrow night. We'll be back to our half hour, our time slot tomorrow. But shortly after 8 o'clock, Ken will be joining us because I want to talk a little bit about this. They had a school safety lockdown drill, right? A lockdown safety drill at one of my son's schools. He's a young guy, right? It's like a kindergarten thing. He came home and he was petrified. He was like, well, what do you mean there's this? What do you mean there's that? What do you mean there could be violent intruders? What do you mean about all these other things? So in that particular moment in all of time, I was kind of like, I dig the idea of training, right? Right? If you plan and you prepare, right? It's about being impeccable and you get that way through honing, right? Honing your skill. And then the other side was like, why are they scaring the living daylights out of these poor kids? So we're going to be able to talk about that tomorrow night. I'm really excited to have Ken Ratliff from Window Armor. He'll be on with us tomorrow night, so we can kind of have that debate. So if you're in the middle of that debate, we'd love to have you join us tomorrow. Wayne, Hey, Joe, no backup tonight needed. I know. 24 hours. You know what? Okay, where's my... Oh, you know what? I took my sledgehammer away to make a gag the other day, Joe. I don't have it with me. Kelly, thank you so very much for joining us. Kelly, believe me, I've been thinking about the bed and breakfast. I say we circle the wagons, figure out how to make that work for the 81 to win. Patricia, good evening again. Feeling the pressure, thanks. Jen Durecki, nice to see you. My little one had a high fever last week. Now, this week, she's got a constant cough. I'm sorry, my friend. I can only imagine what that feels like for her. Oh, yes, Ashley absolutely appreciated the peace and quiet. Oh, and she's just like, nah, he can have the room. It's his. I'm not going anywhere near that. So I think she did. She's learned after all these years of what it's like to put up with me. So, Kathy, good evening. Thank you so very much for joining us here at All Natural Being. And what I wanted to talk about this evening before Lee comes on at the bottom of the hour, and we're going to be talking about the good folks at Sales Copy Academy. I should mention they're also a sponsor of the official timer here at All Natural Being, which is great because now the clock will actually be counting down until it's time for Lee to come on. So that'll be good. We're going to be talking about that this evening, but the big in my house, at least, all right? If not in my house, then a big in my mind. We had our meeting today with the neurosurgeons and the parking lot attendants and interested people in the hallway waiting on the elevator over at the Columbus Cranium Shack, and they kind of brought everyone together and thought, okay, well, we tested them out. We did all this. We did all that. I can't wait to hear a fellow West Virginian talk. Well, thank you, Jamie. I'm looking forward to it, too. He knows. And let me tell you something. You spend a little bit of time at like a conference or like an expo. This guy knows how to draw in a crowd, so I'm very excited to have him here. Donna, hello. Thank you so very much for joining us at All Natural Being. So today over at the Columbus Cranium Shack, everyone got a vote. Took a couple minutes. You know what I mean? There had to be a vote recount. No hanging chads, I'm glad to report. They checked my passport, make sure the dates were all right, make sure I had never been to the Ukraine, make sure I'm not a subscriber to WikiLeaks, all that kind of cool stuff. But then the moment of truth, the votes were all in, and the powers that be over at the Columbus Cranium Shack. And if you're saying to yourself, he says Columbus Cranium Shack quite a bit, well, that was for everyone that was offended when I first said the Columbus Cranium Shack. So that was just my way of, saying hello. In any event, we were over there, and they said, well, you know what? We tried our best. We gave you this shunt a couple years back, and you gave it whatever kind of shot, but we're here to tell you we are taking it out of you, if that's what you decide. And I said, is that what I decide? You're going to take it out? Well, yes. And I go, now, Ashley later said to me, this was my mistake, right? Because I reached into my pocket, right, like I was getting ready to pull this out, and I go, oh, no, I was in hopes you were going to say it's time to come out, and I bought a Dremel tool. We can start right now. I go, you got some plastic gloves here? There's got to be some kind of cotton swab I can bite down on for the pain. Why don't we just take this thing? Thank you, Donna, very much. Denise, thank you so very much for joining us here at All Natural Being. So, Denise, I was just telling everyone, I offered my neurosurgeon today a Dremel, a little pocket Dremel. Right? Batteries are charged. Don't worry about that. I know what you're thinking. I got a backup battery. It's all good. Well, there's got to be some cotton swabs here. We can ball up, and I can bite down. Heather, thank you very much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. There's got to be like something I can bite down on for the pain. And I should have known, right? This guy's like a world-class neurosurgeon. Just a perfect manicure. Just perfect. Right? It doesn't even look like he's ever gripped a golf club. Just like perfect. And he looks at me, honest to God, he looks at me and goes, what's a Dremel? Now, in fairness, right, he probably, maybe, I don't know, maybe he's never had to root around to find some stuff to saw off a wayward screw. Thank you, Donna. Well, it might be. Maybe only people from West Virginia know what a Dremel is. I don't know. Winning. I'm with you, Joseph, right? So I said, I've got a Dremel. We could do it right here. What's a Dremel? And I thought, look, I've had a lot of jokes just die on the vine before. If Dana Lee were here, Dana knows, I could imagine, although I've had more, jokes die than hers. What it's like to do a joke and then the people in the room just kind of go, what? So they didn't get the chance to take it out today. No need. It's all good. But we're going to work on a date in the not-too-distant future, so they finally had to admit that, there's probably been a malfunction So for those of you that tuned in to the last, 175 episodes, I get to now lay off whatever I did that either offended you or didn't offend you. Whatever I did, apparently I get to lay it all off now on a faulty shunt. Yeah, Brad, I got to tell you, maybe there was something wrong with that shunt. Maybe all the headaches, the nausea, the Parkinsonism, right? The this, the that, blah, 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 the burn in the eyes. Oh, who knows? That could have been a faulty shunt. And I thought to myself, well, maybe you could have told me about that last December when I came here and said something is really wrong, right? I just didn't find the Columbus Cranium Shack on a map and thought, oh, this would be a great way to kill Christmas. I'll just admit myself to a hospital. But no, that's okay. But look, let's let bygones be bygones. Just get this damn thing out of me, right? So we're setting a date for that to happen, but I will punt the shunt. We're thinking sometime before Christmas. So that is the update that I wanted everyone to know about this evening. We had looked on the, we were watching the calendar for the 28th at 1 p.m., counting down the clock. Of course, I was there early, right? But counting down the clock till we knew we got this meeting. So that's the official word. We will be punting the shunt sometime before Christmas, and I'm very excited about that because here's something else that I didn't know until today. Maybe you knew. It's barely a procedure. It's like, I even asked him, I said, well, can I stay awake while you're doing it so you and I can talk and you can tell me, maybe, like bring your cell phone and take a picture of my brain? And he said, no, we can't take cell phones. We can't bring cell phones in the operating room. And I go, yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense. I go, what do you have, like an overhead drone that could come in? And once you cut me open, he's like, no overhead drones. And I go, okay, thinking again, but I don't know why the overhead drone joke would have worked for someone who didn't realize what a Dremel was. So I guess I should have just let that go. But in any event, it's like a really quick procedure. And Ashley's like, well, how long would it be in the hospital? Well, I don't know. It all depends how many courses for dinner you order. Well, they do have good cheeseburgers at the Columbus Cranium Shack. I got to give him that. But he's like, no, you won't be. It's basically like a. Oh, Joseph, I'm going to come back to that point. I'm going to come back to that. So hold on 1 second. I'm going to come back to that. So he goes, no, it's really kind of simple. He told me exactly what they're going to do. He goes, you're going to be out in a couple of hours. You can go home and sleep it off. You get up the next morning, and other than the stitches, everything will be great. You'll be ready to go. Everything will be fine. Watch the stress in your life, but you're good to go. It's nothing like putting it into you. Taking it out's a piece of cake. So, Heather, thank you very much. David Ray Bowman, thank you for joining us, brother, as always. Hope you're feeling better. Sarah, thank you so very much. Heather? I absolutely agree. Now, I can't tell, but that is like party symbols. I would agree. Heather, thank you. Joseph says, can you hang it on the Christmas tree? Now, that's why I wanted to be reminded of that, because, Joseph, here is the gig. And I had to ask, right, because you got to let them know ahead of time. And I said, look, I'll even bring a Ziploc baggie, right? I'll bring a Ziploc baggie so that hold on a second, when the surgery's over, I want to be able to keep the shunt, right? I'm sure it'll be hanging in his office. Candace, that's a very good point. I will take a picture of it hanging on my Christmas tree, and then I'll have it hanging here somewhere in the office, because you know what he said? Next to the gong. Yes, I'll have it hang right here, Joseph. But I get the actual shunt. I get my nemesis of the last 2 years. I get the actual thing that's caused me. And he goes, yeah, just remind me before we go into surgery that you want it, because I've never had that request before. So I go, I can have the whole thing. And then Ashley says, well, what about the tubing that runs all the way down? He goes, yeah, I'll pull it all out. I'll yank it all out. He's going to be using, this I found interesting, he's going to be using a tool called the Woodman's Pal. Woodman's Pal, I didn't know about that, but he cracks me in the top of the head with that, and he like a little hook that can get in there and whip it out. And I go, tomato, however you want to do it. You got 15 minutes. He goes, oh, that's all the surgery's going to take is 15 minutes. I'm like, are you kidding? He goes, yeah, and then you'll be home. You can sleep it off, right? Well, I can't headbutt anybody. I can't play hockey for a while, but that's okay. I can't ice skate, so I couldn't have played hockey before the surgery. Jamie says, I want to smell it. Okay, Jamie, I didn't know about that, but hang on, Snoopy. I'll see what I can do. Oh, my God, don't let him have it. Oh, yeah. So anyway, enough about me. But that's what was going on today, and that's what we will be doing sometime between now and Christmas. So it's great, because if it goes down, my vote is it'll go down on a Friday. I'll get it done Friday afternoon, take the weekend off, and I'll be back, bright and early Sunday morning. So That's the breaking news from here. All right, I talked to you briefly. Tomorrow night, we're going to be hanging out with Ken Ratliff, talking about, not just about window armor, which I'm a huge fan of, but more importantly, this debate of, do we train our kids to have active shooters and violent intruder drills in the schools, or is it too much? Have we got them scared to death? Is it a good thing? Heaven forbid if it ever happens. Should we have it? So we'll be having that debate tomorrow night, Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern here on IPMNation.com. Of course, TR Now, as you know, and also the live video will be here at Facebook. And then at the bottom of the hour, replying to Jamie, yeah. Oh, you know what? Maybe I can call the good folks at doTERRA and see if they can come up with a scent called Brain Shunt. I don't know, Jamie. I'll let you know. But we have that going. And then this evening at the bottom of the hour, we're going to have our good friend Lee Rowley from Sales Copy Academy. He'll be joining us. And you know what, Lee, if you're listening, you're welcome to call in at any time. I'll have you talk for a couple minutes, then I'm going to rechange the clock to be another 30 minutes. I think that'll be my goal. But we'll be working with Lee Rowley tonight from Sales Copy Academy. You know, maybe you have some Christmas cards that you want to send out, or you're thinking about a really cool email that you want to do for the holiday season. Lee is the guy that we could absolutely talk to and see what it would take to get, because people all the time are like, oh, what do I got to do to get people to open this email? Oh, another thing to fill you in on today. I killed a good hour and a half unsubscribing to every email that told me today was my final chance. This was my final opportunity. The doors were closing. All these different ways that email marketers come up to bully you into pulling the trigger right now. So I got rid of a good 12 or 13 emails by going through the whole process of unsubscribing because, oh, you got to get in before 5 o'clock. Oh, this will be your last chance. Oh, this, oh, that. It's all bullying. And I thought to myself, oh, just like Twitter, and we got to get to Twitter because I said we would talk about that tonight as well. The CEO of Twitter, Jack, I forget what his last name is. Jack somebody is all in trouble now because maybe he lied to Congress. Far be it for me to jump on the anti-Twitter bandwagon. But I'm going to here probably a little later tonight and definitely tomorrow as well. But Lee would be a great guy to talk to about how we can write some email copies that aren't this, fear of missing out, this FOMO that everybody and their brother, and sister, right? I don't want to mansplain. Everybody and their brother now are using, oh, you've got to open this before it's too late. The doors will close. I'll lose the key to the vault. And I've always thought, wait a minute, would you really sign up for a mastermind with a guy or a girl that says, oh, I don't know what I did with the keys to the vault. What could I have done? Right? Really? They lost the keys to the vault? You're going to sign up? No, I think I'll send it. Emails. What a twit. Thank you very much, Jamie. I don't know what I did, but thank you very much. Jen, nice to see you. Thank you for joining us here at All Natural Being. Please tell Matt we said howdy. All right, so we're getting ready for Lee Rowley at Sales Copy Academy. He'll be with us at the bottom of the hour. And then we're going to talk about this concept of it was born, I mentioned in the open. You were born with it. You knew what you wanted to be way back when. Afoot and lighthearted. Was it Whitman that said, afoot and lighthearted, I took to the open road. So way back when, you knew exactly what you wanted to be. And I guess tonight I'd like to focus on exactly what time is it? What is the day, the week, the month, the year that you're going to remember who you ultimately are? We talk about putting your heart's highest priority top of your list. This is the time to remember, what have you always wanted to do? Maybe if you've already achieved it, God love you. But if you haven't achieved it, that's directed to Jack at Twitter, not you. Oh, thank you, Jamie. Either way, tomato, tomato. I know what a twit. Here's just the thing. I'm on my anti-Twitter bandwagon because if you really believe you can be dead named, I don't even know what the term means. You can be dead named. You can have your humanity stripped from you. It's just any of the things that stand for the watering down of true human wherewithal. As I mentioned the other night, 300 million miles away, we can get a little probe to land on Mars. But you're going to be upset if I call you a he or a she or I don't know what, right? And in some places, I guess that's called dead naming. Really, the stunning breadth and depth of the human mind. And we're worried about what other people call us. And then Twitter has a platform that says, oh, no, you break those rules. You call someone something they don't want to be. You've triggered them. You've demeaned them. You've offended them. Offended. Think of the word. And I've said countless times on Facebook, only the offendable, right? Only the offendable can be offended. Pretty simple stuff. If you cannot be offended, if you're unoffendable, then what do you care about the words of another? All right. More importantly, you've always known what it is. You've always had your heart's highest calling, as you've heard me say countless times. Everything you've always needed, you had from day one. And will this be the day, the week, the month? Maybe this year. Maybe you're getting ready. You may go like, let me get through the holidays, and then this New Year's Eve, got to swap out my mic real quick. Be on at 8:30. Thank you, Lee. I should probably send the bat signal out for Lee. Get rid of it. Now, Lee's pretty sharp. He knows what he's doing, but I'm sure, look, if the mic doesn't work, Lee doesn't suffer fools very long. So if that mic doesn't work, believe me, it'll be out in the garbage can tomorrow. So if you know where Lee lives, drive by and you can probably find yourself a useless microphone in the trash. I'm thinking, Joseph Haggerty, you can't hurt me. I'm the gingerbread man. Very nice. I like that. So in addition to being the gingerbread man, right, or gingerbread woman, right, Joe, we don't want to offend anyone, gingerbread man or gingerbread woman, you really can have your mind derailed, your heart. You can be ruined. You can be offended. You can be assaulted by the words of another. Do you really believe you inhabit an existence that can be dead named? That you can have, this is the one that always grabs me, you can have your humanity stripped from you. How does one go about stripping? Would it be like stripping, I don't know, like, I don't even know what. Like, is there a desalination unit for humanity? So your humanity could be stripped from you like salt from salt water? Is it a process like that? And why would we ever stand for a platform that allows people to think, oh, that's what I'm going to do? I'm going to wrap myself in even further in this thin skin. I'm going to wrap myself in this sense of needing to be protected. I'm going to buy bubble wrap. I'm going to buy one of those big, what is it, samurai? No, what are those big suits you see at kids' birthday parties, the wrestler suits? I'm going to buy one of those big suits. What, so I can go around and go, hey, does this suit make me look fat? Right? Could you really be offended by the words of another? And if so, my question would be, whatever happened? Whatever happened to these individuals that believe they can have their humanity stripped from them? They could be dead named. Just don't get it. All right, let's take a quick call. See if Lee has figured out. Good evening. Welcome to All Natural Being. Who's this?
Hey, this is Lee Rowley.
Hey, Lee. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing fantastic. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Thank you. So I want to hear all about the microphone. It just stopped working, or you said you had to switch out microphones. What's going on?
Oh, yeah, no, it's the cord was shot.
Oh, okay. I was surprised at that once before. Someone said, well, did you check the USB? No, I never thought of that, right? I was ready to send the whole $400 unit back and this and that and everything else. He goes, why don't we just try a USB? And I go, all right, if you want. You're the geek here at Best Buy, right? Or Geek Squad, whatever they call themselves. He goes, yeah, why don't we just try the USB? And I'll be damned, he was right. It was, I'm not saying I was surprised that someone at the Geek Squad was right. I don't mean it like that. I don't want to disparage the Geek Squad. Lord knows I couldn't make it through the day without them, but it was just the USB. Yeah. Sue, good evening. Thank you for joining us here at All Natural Being. If you missed the big announcements, one is tomorrow night, Ken Ratliff will be joining us to go over this whole thing, Lee, of should we be teaching active shooter drills in schools? Should we not be teaching active shooter drills? That whole thing. Kenneth from Window Armor is going to be with us tomorrow night. And Sue, I was letting everyone know, Lee, and I think you were listening beforehand. Big news of the day with the good folks at the Columbus Cranium Shack. The shunt is coming out of me. It will be time very shortly to punt the shunt. So Sue and Lee, I think we're caught up on what I was talking about for the opening half hour. Lee, how about you? What's going on in your life?
Well, first, I want to congratulate you. That's
Thank you, brother.
awesome news. I'm so happy to hear that. I know that you've absolutely been through hell with that thing, and I'm just so glad to see that you be able to end that chapter. And always to hear your unique sense of humor about it, is definitely hugely refreshing.
Well, if I can be honest with you, Lee, and Sue says punt the shunt, I am absolutely with you. And I'm only going to talk about it for a little, not tonight, but for a few more days. Punt the shunt. Good evening, Darren. But I want to be respectful. Not that they need me to be, right? These are tough people. But I want to be respectful to people that aren't as lucky, that aren't as fortunate, that aren't as blessed as I am. I've only had to put up with this thing for 2 years. I know people, and I've met people that will be remanded to shunts for the rest of their lives. You talk about Wordsworth's shades of a prison house. I know people that need a shunt in order to be able to live. I am very fortunate, very blessed, very lucky, to fill in the blank, that I was one of the ones that was able to heal to such a degree that the shunt was doing more damage than it was good. So I want to be really respectful. I don't want to I can only celebrate it so long, right? Because I know I leave behind truly courageous, phenomenal, salt-of-the-earth people that unfortunately will be subject to shunts the rest of their life. So I think almost, kind of, Lee, it's almost like I have a little bit of survivor's guilt as I think about it this evening, because I won't have the ability. I'm just really lucky, I guess, is the way that I should put it. I'm very fortunate that I'm one of a handful of people that get to have these things removed. And I have, I've achieved it as such that I never have to go back that way. So it's most certainly a mixed blessing. But thank you for saying so. Darren, good evening. Sorry I'm late. Funerals suck. Yes, Darren, in fact, they do. It's nice to have you here. Thank you for joining us. Patricia, thank you so very much. Yeah, punt the shunt. Believe me, I'll be ready. All right, Lee, let's get to what you want to talk about tonight. Oh, one more thing. I'm sorry. Joseph says he's identifying as a gingerbread man tonight, tomorrow. Who knows?
Ooh, okay.
Sorry about that.
That's an identity crisis sort of thing? Or
no. We were just talking about. No, but everyone's saying, "Oh, I want to identify as a this," or "I want to identify as a that."
I see.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So he's a gingerbread man tonight. And I said we don't want to mansplain. My good friend Sue's here, so she reminds every time I see Sue's name, I think of this whole thing called what's the way you cook a turkey when you flatten it? You split the breastbone and you flatten. It's not cock splotching. What's the name? Do you know what it means? Sue will know. She'll tell me here.
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's a real popular way. It's not cock splotching, but it's one of those things that just sticks, and I never can get the right term, but splotchcocking? Cock splotching? It's one of those terms. Joseph, it is a blessing and a signal of hope. Oh, spatchcocking. Thank you. Spatchcock. You know what Sue was going to say there, Lee? She was going to say, for the love of God. But she wanted to type it so fast, she couldn't get it out. It's butterflying. For the love of God. See, I told you. I know Sue. She's good. And I should tell you, guess who drove me to the hospital almost 2 years ago now? And held my hand as I was getting ready to go in for this shunt surgery. My good friend Sue.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, that's you're absolutely right. And Joseph says it's called butterflying. I love it that I love Sue so much that I know she's trying to type so fast. For the love of God, don't say cock splotching again. All right, so
the way you said it kind of sounded dirty. So
right, tomato. I didn't know, but let me just make sure I know someone again. Spatchcocking.
Okay.
Yeah, well, it's still got the word spatch in it, right? I think.
Right.
All right, so butterflying it is what Joseph calls it. But Lee, what did you want to talk about this evening? While you're doing this, if you don't mind, I'm going to take off all my stuff here. So could I count on you, Lee? Could you? You know what I was going to do? I was going to reset the clock, but I think we've already gone over enough, so maybe I'll just leave the clock. Candace says she's offended. Candace, no charge. Thank you so much. No charge.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Yeah, no charge. Good evening,
Absolutely.
Chris. Thank you for joining us. From West Virginia, maybe she there's probably another term that they have. So what Candace is offended by is the fact that I'm not using the West Virginia term, whatever that is.
I see.
I don't know what that could be. All right, my friend, for the third time, speaking of for the love of God, I'm going to let you finish. What would you like to talk about this evening? Because it is Wednesday, therefore, it's Lee Words Wednesdays, and I should let you know that tonight is also the season premiere of the season return of the Vikings.
For some reason, I got the impression that you were excited about that.
Yeah, oh, I'm terribly excited. And I started, here's a plug for a fellow IPM Nation person. I got my plug in for Politipod, aired this morning at 9 a.m. First I've known about, so I kicked off my day with them. And then I got to go to the Columbus Cranium Shack, as I said. And now tonight, I'll wrap it up with you, which look, it's Wednesday. I'm always excited to get to hang with you. And then I will top off my evening with the season premiere of the Vikings.
Nice.
Good golly. Can't wait. All right. So now for the fourth time, what is it you'd like to talk about tonight, Lee?
I think at this point I've forgotten. No, I'm kidding.
Hey, I'm the one with amnesia. Get your own jokes, pal. No. So
right. Absolutely. So, well, you and I were talking, and every year I feel like I need a phrase, a guiding beacon, if you will, for what I want to accomplish and what I want the next year to look like. I mean, and it just so happens that this year it actually came a little bit early because I'm usually still thinking about it up until December 31st and second guessing. But this year, there's absolutely no second guessing. That my phrase, my guiding beacon for 2019 is all in.
Oh, I like that. All in. I like that. So now this is a phrase that you use as like maybe a bellwether, but at least something that even when times get tough, you just remember this particular phrase, and this is going to get you through no matter what you find yourself in.
Well, that's exactly it.
Okay.
Right. So for me, I think it's for 2019, it's all in. This year, I have definitely learned an incredible amount, and I've gone far beyond my stuck behind the keyboard, plunking away copy for my clients, and really stepped out and met some amazing people. You obviously being one of them, and everyone here listening. But I learned and grew so much, and now I feel like it's time to take that and put it into action.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So that's my big thing is right now is just determining what exactly that is going to look like going all in for 2019.
So then, would you suggest for other people, because when you said that to me, and I've written it down, all in, I don't know if you can see that, probably not. Can I share with you the first thing that popped to my mind?
Absolutely.
My word, I'm going to, instead of a term, you have a phrase. For me, 2019, it's going to be a word. And you know what word popped into my mind when you said all in?
What word is that?
Stubborn.
Stubborn.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's going to be I just thought of it now. That's my word for 2009 is going to be stubborn. No matter what fate does to chop block me, right? No matter how brutal it gets, I'm going to stubbornly out-brutal the brutal through everything.
Nice.
In 2019, my word, I'm going to write that down. Not that I'd forget it, but stubborn is going to be the word. All right, so how did you come up with all in? Like for the people listening, people here in the thread, how is it that they could develop a phrase, right? Like I used your phrase to get to my word, but how did you get to your phrase?
A lot of it had to do with just looking at the mistakes that I've made over the years. Which I love making mistakes because that means that I'm learning. Assuming that I'm paying attention and actually doing something different next time. There's mistakes that you make over and over again aren't all that great, but but I made so many new mistakes with rebuilding the business, with rebranding from my agency to what I'm doing now. I screwed a lot of things up,
Okay.
and that's, to me, I think that's an important part of that process.
Do you mind if I share something with you for a second?
Absolutely.
We talked about Sue being with me 2 years ago when we got this shunt thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
The shunt thing, this debacle that has been my life for the last 24
Right.
months. And I remember a conversation that Sue and I had that day where I just didn't want to go. She almost turned around for me. And it was just some intuitive sense that I didn't want this. This wasn't something that's going to work. So when you talk about some of the failures, when you talk about learning from your mistakes, let's say, one of the things that I'm armed with through all this is that I had an intuitive gut sense that I literally needed to go in another direction, right? Like I wanted Sue, she'll tell you, I wanted her to make a U-turn on the highway. The places where it says don't make any U-turns. She just thought I was trying to be my normal, radical, nonconformist self. Like I was just asking her to make a U-turn. But one of the things that it armed me with is that, and maybe you feel the same way when you say all in, is that one of the lessons that you can learn is always trust your gut. Right? Now, not that voice in you that goes, oh, I'd like a second piece of pie. Of course you always listen to that voice. But I mean the real gut, right? Where there's a sense of foreboding that's just so great that to continue down your course is to go against yourself. That's one of the things for me that jumps to mind when you say all in.
Exactly. A lot of those mistakes, for me, have been in fits and starts where
Okay.
I've gone down different roads and wasted a lot of time. So yeah, it's congealing that into a directed force to say, okay, as you say, my gut is telling me that it's time to pick a direction and go.
Right. And then, so when you say, okay, this is something that I want to do for 2019, is it going to be like on a Post-it note at the fridge? I mean, what are some of the ways, or is it you just come in here in the thread, telling it to your friends, telling it to me? It's something that we kind of like can expect to hold you to. How do you expect to employ that all-in motto? I mean, when things are going easy in 19, it'll be a layup, right? But how can you use the all-in motto, when things maybe aren't going so smoothly?
Well, the accountability part of it is a huge thing for me, and that's why I'm willing to say this, on live internet radio.
Sure.
And it's something that I'm going to be broadcasting and talking about in what I'm teaching as well. So, that builds an accountability. I've got eyeballs looking at me, and if I drop the ball on it, then, I can't let that happen because I know that I have people counting on me to improve myself so that I can help them improve their lives as well.
So when you hear some of the people say the best way in terms of guaranteeing your goal is to tell other people, so that in those troubling times, you can count on the fact that you've told other people to kind of keep you on the course?
Well, exactly. I mean, I think you need to be strategic about who you tell. You want to make sure that the people who are supportive, who are your allies,
your blue force, right?
We're going to be able to prop you up in those turbulent times, as you say.
Sure. Lee, let me interrupt quickly to say hello. If it's Ina or Ina, Marie Putnam, thank you very much for joining us. Nell, thank you for joining us here at All Natural Being. Joseph said, Brian is identifying as a Viking today. We don't have a lot of time left with Lee, but I can tell you, being of Welsh descent, I don't know very many people from Wales running around that know that deep back in their family tree, there was a Viking knocking at the door, right? That's just my gut sense. Joseph also says stubborn is 2 words in West Virginia. Almost heaven. Jamie says, pause before you say or do is my motto. Pause before you say or do is my motto. That sounds like a great motto. What would you think, Lee? Pause before you say still. I like it. Yeah, that's a great one.
Absolutely. Yep. I think that works perfectly. And, the West Virginia thing, of course, I'm probably going to make somebody bad here. But, back in college, I went to college at the University of Rio Grande. Yeah. Anywhere else on the planet, it'll be Rio Grande. But, 10 miles from the West Virginia border is Rio Grande. Right. But there was this joke that going around Rio Grande my freshman year there that West Virginians thought that the U.S. Postal Service was a personal insult. Because on the side of all the trucks it said, "You smell."
Well, I can tell you, I'm from West Virginia. That doesn't offend me. So I'm from
Southern Ohio, so it's basically West Virginia. That's North Kentucky.
You smell. I'm stealing that. I'm absolutely stealing that. All right, so enough fun. Let's get back to this concept of all in. You would suggest for other people here in the thread that we do what we can to maybe more than a New Year's resolution. It's just more of a personal motto. Because, Lee, you and I have talked at length about, Jamie says, reading, writing, and Route 23. Well, Jamie, I can tell you all those years as a cop when Control would say, hey, blah, 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 call you over the air, I'd say en route. And everyone would always go, oh, route, or fixin'. Fixin' is another one. Jamie, maybe you know that. Joseph, maybe. Kenneth, definitely. Red up. I used to say red up, or I'm fixin'. Sisterville, West Virginia. Darren. All right, Darren. So would you say, I can't cough anymore. I coughed so bad the last 36 hours that I can't laugh anymore. My ribs actually hurt. That's how bad the coughing was the last couple of days. So, Lee, you would say, notwithstanding all the jokes from West Virginia, which I'm a fan of, keep them coming, please, that a sense of a motto, because as we've talked about, by January, 25th, 26th, 27th, they say that 90% of the people that made a New Year's resolution by the 27th abandoned that resolution. Mm-hmm. They've already packed it in, already lost the bet, caved, right? They're already off to something else. But what I love about your concept, what you all talking about. Good evening, John. Thank you, Candace. Candace. As soon as I said, don't make me laugh, Candace has got a text in. What y'all talking about? John, good evening. Welcome to All Natural Being. Lee, I want to get back to your point. What's nice about a saying, what's nice about this sense of you being able to go, no, I have a motto, not necessarily a New Year's resolution, but just a motto that I'm going to live by. I think that's a great way to defeat this third week in January where everyone else is, fallen, is it on or off the bandwagon? But having a motto guarantees you're still going to be in the game. Your head's still in the fight. You're still squaring your shoulders with fate in February, March, and April. You're not going to throw yourself into that mass of humanity that's abandoned a New Year's resolution because you have a motto, not a resolution. Mm-hmm. I love it.
Absolutely.
I think it's a great idea.
And to go back to the accountability thing a little bit, just to be able to actually use this motto to achieve whatever goal you want to. I've really this year come to believe in the power of groups for that.
Mm-hmm.
Creating private Facebook groups just to be able to have like-minded people to check in with.
Sure.
To be able to, hey, what problems are you having? What can I help with? That's the community is so important because we don't really achieve anything great by ourselves.
Well, I have to tell you, brother, that's what I love about, it's one of the many things I love about All Natural Being and hanging out here in the evening, even if there's only 15, 20, 30, 40 of us, in the live show on Facebook, however more listen on different platforms of the audio or get the app, I never get to see right here in the moment. But I always have enjoyed that sense of family. And, kind of like the cast from The Walking Dead, it changes, right? Every season you get new people in and new people out or this or that. But I've always loved that sense of, even though friends here have accused me of a little more kick-ass than kumbaya, I've always enjoyed that sense of family, that sense of tribe. I call it kindred that I developed with the people here in the thread, so I know exactly what you mean. Candace says, night, love you, BB, but love Vikings more. Is it that time already? Oh, Lee, look at the clock. Got to let you go. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Joseph, good fancy, like stubborn, all in Latin. That's great. Stubborn and all in Latin. Now I got to get out my Latin dictionary after Vikings. Joseph, give me a call when Vikings is over, and I'll have stubborn all in Latin for you when that happens. All right. Oh, look at that. Thank you, Joseph. Pertinax. Pertinax is Latin for stubborn, and I think maybe all in. Pertinax. I like that. Thank you, Joseph, very much.
Okay.
John says you all are definitely family. John, as we feel the same about you, thank you so very much. All right, Lee, closing thoughts so that I can get upstairs, get a nice filtered water and my space in front of the remote. Final thoughts on All In. And also don't forget, talking about private Facebook groups, Sales Copy Academy, I'm thrilled to have been, I mean, we argue all the time whether I was the first, the second, or the third member in, but I'm one of the top three into Sales Copy Academy, the private group, all the lessons and everything else that you have. So tell us quickly about that. And if you don't mind, will you also put a link here in the thread once you run so that anyone that wants information can also find you there as well. Final thoughts.
Oh, well, really, it's great to be able to just have this, as you say, this is a community, and I think that's something that we all need to carry forward into 2019, and just really focus on connecting with the people who matter instead of letting all of these outside influences into us that we don't want and that we don't need. I mean, connect with the people who strengthen you, who make you want to get up and keep doing something that's great. There's no reason that we have to let the masses tell us what we should think, what we should be, what we can and can't do. Being able to have those small groups, as I'm finding, it's just amazing to not feel so alone and not feel like, wait, am I the only one going through this?
No, that makes perfect sense.
That's huge. And this sort of Sales Copy Academy, I'll put the link up in there. We're doing some really amazing things with helping people create their authentic messages and get across what they really want to, instead of feeling like they have to fake their way to sales or fake their way to a successful business. So
that's what I love about you, brother. It's not slimy. You know what I mean? It's not slimy. It's not template. It's authentic. It's not like making guacamole with plastic fruit, right? I just find what you write is real and authentic and from the bottom of the heart. So I absolutely agree with you. Kathy, thank you very much. I absolutely enjoyed hanging with you. Joseph said all in is omnis, just so you know. Yeah, omnis. And pertinax is stubborn. Pertinax in Latin. So we'll remember both of those terms. Lee, thank you so very much. Thank you once again, you and all the good folks at Sales Copy Academy, for being the official time sponsor of All Natural Being. That'll come pretty big come Valentine's Day when we're in the middle of 81 to win. But thank you so much for joining us this evening for Lee Words Wednesdays. Always a pleasure to get to hang with you, and we'll talk to you soon.
My pleasure.
All right. Good night, brother. All right, we're going to get ready. As Candace says, she'd like to hang a little bit longer, but she's got to get her some Vikings. I know exactly how she feels. You know what I meant. Okay, so we're going to jump so that I get there in time. Thank you all so very much for joining us. Remember, you've known all along who you wanted to be, right? Is now the time where you give yourself permission to be that person, to be bold, to square your shoulders to fate, and no matter what gets thrown at you, to stand up and go, yeah, I'm not buying this. This is what I'm here to do. This is how it's going to go. And you better go victimize someone else because you're not going to derail me. All right. Have an absolutely fantastic evening. We will be back tomorrow night. Ken Ratliff from Window Armor. Huge debate going on in the news. We'll be able to solve it, I hope, right here. And Joseph, thank you very much. Peace out to you. Thank you, Jamie, as well. Kathy, good night. Joseph, Mary, if you see her, please tell her I said good night. We will see you all tomorrow night. Good night, everybody.
IPMNation.com.